Hello and welcome to Matt Talks Money, the podcast where we talk about anything and everything to do with money, personal finance, and life. I'm your host, Matt, and welcome to the first episode in this series, which I'm calling Money Questions. This series specifically, I'll be talking to my friends and family about anything to do with money. Each week, I'll aim to have a different guest, and today we have our very first guest, Ollie Trigg. Hi, mate. How you doing? Tell us about yourself.
Hello everyone. I am Ollie, as Matt said. We first met in college, sixth form.
Was it 4 years ago?
And
3 years ago?
yeah,
4 years ago?
4 years
Long
ago
time.
now. Beginning was 4 years. Don't make me feel old. So yeah, we met there, and I don't think we actually got on first year, did we? I mean, we knew each other, but we didn't really know
No, we
each
became
other.
better friends second year, definitely.
Yeah. And I kind of think we've been the most similar people in terms of like the people we surrounded ourselves with. I feel like you and I both think think similarly about sort of similar topics.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So what are you doing
that's
at the
where we
moment?
met. I am at uni. I am studying music production and composition in Wales, which sounds much fancier than it actually is. But don't be fooled. I'm actually I like to think that I'm semi-sensible when it comes to life. So I'm not that classic uni student that's like, oh, I'll just spend money on everything, which I've always strived to be honest. I don't like the fact that loads of people just waste money until they're like 26 and then they're like, oh, I want to buy a car. Oh, I haven't got any money.
Yeah.
So
Right.
yeah,
That leads
that's
us
me.
nicely onto the first question, which is, what does money mean to you?
Okay, well, so Matt sent these questions to me yesterday. I was pondering over these about how I was going to answer them. You've also got written down here, what is the first word that comes to you when I say money?
Yeah, we can go that one first. What's the
Okay.
first word that comes to your head when I say money?
I would just say like lifestyle. I mean, whatever lifestyle people spend ages trying to figure out what they want to be and how they want to live when they're older. And then a lot of people are advised, don't think about the money, just go forward with whatever you want to do. And whilst that's a good piece of advice, I'd also say that you have to have realistic goals in life, and you have to, decide what you want your life to be, and that might be something pursuing something that I'm gonna knuckle down and I'm gonna get to that end goal, and I don't care how much it costs or what it does or how I feel or whatever. But I always go with the idea, or the way I'm going through my life is kind of, I want to set myself up for the future as best I can. For the future for me, future for my future family, and having I was brought up in Surrey in the UK, so I know that's kind of seen as a privileged area. But
Upper class.
I do agree with that. It's a privilege that people have earned, or certainly me. I've not sat there going, okay, well, I'm in this area, so this is just where I'm going to live, and that's just how it's going to work. I understand where it kind of comes from, and that you have to work for it.
Well, that's good, mate. It's good you've got your big goals and you're thinking into the future. Many people just think, short term, they don't have a long-term goal. So it's good you've got a long-term goal. So obviously you're doing music at uni. The second question was about, what do you spend your disposable income in or spare money on? And I'm guessing it's going to be something to do with music.
As Matt will know, about before I started uni, I didn't really have anything music tech related. I was always just into playing and singing, and just that was it. I mean, I had an instrument and that was about it. But I don't know if you can see me or not, but I kind of now have this elaborate music setup, which
very elaborate.
a lot of people will say is disposable income, and I'll agree with that. But I knew coming into this degree, there would be a certain level of stuff that I'd have to buy, and with that comes obviously
There's an
a level of
investment,
quality.
really.
Yeah. So yes, it's disposable income spent on music tech. So I've got set of speakers, a microphone, a pair of headphones, a computer, and yes, it is all with my disposable income, but it is still all investments. So that's kind of how I'd summarize what I like spending money on. Is stuff that can benefit me, and I'm not someone who will be like, okay, I know I need it, but I don't really know if I should buy it or not, or maybe there might be in 2 months I don't need it anymore. If you're sort of sat there like, my life and my quality of work and productivity could be improved by this particular item. I don't know. Then I'll just go out and buy it.
Yeah,
There's
like for birthdays, I like useful presents.
yeah,
I hate presents for the sake of presents. I love
yeah.
presents that have a use to me.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
So
it's pointless.
I'll never go out and buy. You'll rarely see me shopping for t-shirts or shorts or whatever.
Yeah,
But you would see me in an Apple store, or you'd see me in a music tech store, or I'm much more keen to sort of get that, but at the right time. I buy when I buy Apple products, I buy them from Apple because they're the best value for money, and it's not going to last me 2 years, and I'll just upgrade it because the new ones come out. I know that it's
Yeah.
going to last me 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. Exciting.
Yeah,
Well,
it's not bad.
so basically music stuff. Um,
Music stuff and tech. That's pretty much
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
very nice.
What do you spend your money on, Matt? Matt,
what
hang
do
on.
I spend my money on?
Yeah.
What do I spend my money on? That's a good question, actually. I do love going to the theatre. I can't deny that.
Okay, yeah.
And before Corona, I did spend a lot of money at the theatre, but at the moment, not a lot.
Hang on. No, well, we're still hoping, aren't we? We're going to Hamilton.
We are going to
in
Hamilton.
July.
But it's been a whole year of me not spending for the theatre, which is good. So I've just been
Yeah.
saving and investing, really. Yeah, actually, I don't know. Oh, I like lights. You can probably see if you can see my video. There's some funky lights in the background. So I like spending money on lights and tech, similar to you, but not all the fancy music tech stuff. Don't do that.
No, but you don't really need that, do you?
No, not yet. So we mentioned quickly about, you said you had some goals for your family and your future family and all that. Any other crazy life goals, business goals, dreams, financial goals?
Well, it's my mates around here are from similar backgrounds to me, but don't have the same sort of outset, and they all sort of rely on me to sort of budget for them. So quite often I get like, what are your financial goals from them? And I'd say I don't have a goal per se in terms of I want to earn this much amount of money by this day. I know that's what you go by, Matt, but I sort of will go, I want to have the same percentage of disposable income that I feel like my family have got at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then anything above that would be a bonus. I understand that your quality of life comes from how much disposable income you have, and also how much it comes from your income. But I'd say that I want to be debt free by the time I'm 30, including student debts. I'm quite good at not like spending money I don't have, and I've been brought up that way always. So I'm almost 21 and I've only just got a credit card. And even that I don't like spending on.
Yeah, I know. I mean, to be fair, the first time you spend on a credit card is scary, but then when you realize, as long as you pay off every month, it's not scary at all.
Yeah.
So
I mean, to be fair,
if you,
we could do a whole series about
credit cards,
credit cards, debit cards.
Well, maybe for the future, mate.
Now. Yeah.
So if I was to ask you, do you have an idea of when you'd like to retire? Would it be 65? Would it be 30? Would it be anywhere in between? Do you have an idea?
Well, I think my idea of work is going to be not something that I turn up to, do my hours and go home.
So not the 9 to 5.
Not the 9 to 5. Well, I don't mind that idea, but it's not going to be something that I dread going to, and then will come home and then live my life. So in terms of like, I just want to work to earn money. That's not me. I couldn't be a hedge fund manager basically. But in terms of retirement, I don't have a date. If everything goes to plan, it will be once I've stopped enjoying work, and it might have to be 5 times in my career, but the first time that happens, I'll just go find something new or do something new. And then when you get to the appropriate age where you're like, okay, I know I could be financially okay if I don't work anymore, and I'm kind of done with whatever I decide to do. But it doesn't help that I don't really know what I want to do in terms of work.
Yeah.
Yet.
See, I don't. My idea of retirement, I don't want to retire, as in, because I just get bored. Well, you know me, you're very similar to me. We get bored very easily. We're not doing anything.
Yeah.
So I've never hit 65 and go, right, I'm going to play golf all day now. I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
I think
you made a podcast. Of course, you don't like being bored.
No, I think my goal is more like a financial goal, as in where I get to a comfortable stage in my life. Like similar to you, where you don't have to work, but you just work because you like doing it.
Well, I mean, you were one of the first things you said to me at the beginning of last year was that you want to have a £1 million net worth by the time you're 30. Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's the goal.
That's the aim.
Got 9 years to get there.
How far are you through?
Let's not discuss that.
You don't have to.
Nowhere near a million. Let's put it that way.
Okay, all right.
But
it's closer than me, everybody. Closer than me.
I think it's I do think uni is a bit of a inhibiting factor at the moment, as in, because I'm spending money rather than earning as much as I'd like to. It's hard to earn, the amount of money that I want to just through side hustles and stuff, but we'll get there. Next interesting question. Any bad financial habits you're willing to admit to the people on the podcast? We've all got them. We've all got them. Mine might be the theatre. That's not a bad habit, but
Yeah, but that's just called having a life, Matt.
yeah, no, this is true. But I do go a bit too frequently.
But then I suppose you bring up the question of anything that you spend. You could see it as anything you spend money on that is not going to make you more money. It could be seen as a bad financial decision. But then that's also how you balance. There's no point having all this money if you're never going to do anything with it. If the only thing you're going to do with it is earn more with it, what's the point of having it? Do you know what I mean?
This is very true. Yeah. Go on. Any other habits?
Yeah. Well, as I said, I've always been raised. My mum, when my mum met my dad, he was in quite bad debt. And he was like, "Oh, I've got all this savings in my bank account," and she was like, "Well, no, you do, but you also have this amount of debt. So actually, you've got like 200 quid." And she has always brought me up to sort of find the best interest rate in banks. Always move your money around. Never leave it earning no interest, even if it's just like a couple of quid. Once you get that sort of that philosophy of how you earn, once it's thousands of pounds, you're actually earning quite a lot, even just by moving it between accounts.
Yeah.
So
that kind of mindset isn't. If your mum didn't teach you that, you would never have known that, because
no,
the education system in the UK doesn't teach that, does it?
But like my sister will always argue with my mum, and she's like, "Why am I bothering doing this? Because it's earning me an extra £3 of interest a year." And we're like, "Yeah, it is, but that's only because you've got £5,000 in that account. If you had 500 grand in that account,
it's a lot more money.
Suddenly that £3 is a lot more money." And she's like, "But why does that matter now?" And it's all about cementing that idea of how you need to treat the money that you've got, rather than just
so would you say it was your mum that made you financially aware?
I'd say it was my mum. It was my dad as well, because he would sit down and do like spreadsheets with me and teach me how to sort of manage my finances. I suppose the biggest thing that taught me was when I was 14, I started a paper round. Because that was my first ever job, and I used to get up 6 days a week, 5:30 in the morning, and do like a 30 house round. And I used to earn £25 a week for 6 days work.
That's stupid amounts of money.
It's awful. And the worst part was that I raised all this money and it actually all went to charity, because I went on a. Well, no, I say worst part. That was to sound awful, but like it didn't sort of grow my financial portfolio very much. But with that, every week I used to get this pay packet, and I would put it into a spreadsheet, and I'd have a list of how much money I earned, and then I would have a list of, okay, I've put £10 in spendings, £5 in savings, and if any extra money that I'd get, like Christmas time, I used to tip, I would be like, any tips I used to get, I would put it in the separate file, and then split that up in savings and spendings as well.
Yes, I never did a paper round. I think you were much more financially aware than I was at that age. I don't think I was.
What age did you pick up then?
See, I got a job at Waitrose when I was about 17, but
was that literally your first job?
It must have been 16 actually. Yeah, 16, because that's when they employ you. And I get about £400 a month, but the time I just liked spending money, because I was like, I haven't had this much money before, so I just spent most of it. And it wasn't until I think it was up a sixth or something, that I became a bit more financially aware. And the place I am now, I think I'm quite financially aware.
I think when you live, you spend your first 14 years living completely solely off your parents, and you'll get pocket money, and it's like 20 quid a week or 10 quid or whatever. And it's not until you start earning much more than that, if your parents stop your pocket money and you start earning 20 quid a week, you almost haven't changed. So your outlook of it hasn't changed, because you're still having the same amount of money. But when you start earning 50 quid a week, you're suddenly like, oh, I've got all this spare money. And you can either start pissing it away and spending it on stupid stuff, or you can go, I actually want to look after this and protect this and let it grow, and then maybe buy a car, or maybe buy a holiday or whatever.
It's a nice feeling watching your bank account grow every year. Or every month.
And especially, I had a year out between sixth form and uni, and I just worked full time in a restaurant. And, I was earning over 1,800 quid a month. and it was just so nice. And I was spending like 60 quid a week. I gave myself a budget of 60 quid a week, and that went on like coffee, petrol, and the occasional like trip to the pub or meal out, and that's all I spent my money on.
So you saved a lot.
I saved a lot, and it was so nice to just see it go up. And then you get to uni, and you just see it keep going down and down and down and down. It was so degrading.
Yeah. Wow. So on top of that, if I was to give you, not me, I don't have that much money. If you were to win £1 million today, or be gifted to it, what would you do with it?
Okay. Well, I know the stereotypical answer is go on a holiday or buy a car or whatever. I would be sensible. I would invest it in something. I don't know. Don't ask me what I would invest it in, because I know you and I are doing our investment adventures together, but we're talking, a couple of £1,000, not $1 million. So
Yeah.
if I was to be given that amount of money and that much responsibility of like, if you do this right, you could literally set yourself up and you never have to work.
Yeah, but if you diversify enough and put, a couple grand here and there rather than the all million in Tesla stock, then I'm sure you'll be fine.
Yeah, true. That's true.
I mean, the fact that you've given that answer is a good answer, rather than just, I'm going to go buy a Ferrari or something.
I know that I would go and buy my dad a car, because I've promised him that if I ever had enough money, I would buy him a Jaguar F-Type. So if I won £1 million tomorrow, I would definitely go and buy him a car.
That's not going to take that much of a budget, though. It's not going to take that much of a cut.
He would definitely kill me, because he'd be like, why? You've just received this amazing amount of money and you spent it a bit on me, and I know he'd be upset. But
it's nice to give back, isn't it, to the people that
And I suppose actually that's a good. I'm gonna nick one of your questions, Matt. How would you feel? How would you change how the way you've been brought up and your family's perception of money when you are their age? Like, is there anything you could see that I would do it differently to them?
That's a good point, actually. I was always brought up with, I think like most people, we had money issues sometimes, and then other times we had not money issues. But I think it's always, especially my mum always taught me that money isn't everything. And even if you don't have money, happiness and love and stuff like that is more fulfilling than money, which it definitely is. But money definitely helps with things, because there was times where we were, a bit tight up, and money would definitely have helped our worries, but money isn't everything. I personally wouldn't change anything about my journey, because it's brought me to where I am now. And I have them to thank for it. But when I have a family of my own, I'm definitely going to teach them, financial stuff from when they're young, when they can open a bank account, and things like that. Because it's good to start them young, because the power of compound interest is, if I started putting on my money when I was back 12, I'd have a lot more money than I am now. But
yeah, true. That's true.
But yeah, that was
Sorry, I full on nicked the fact
No,
that
that's okay. It's all right. Is there one area or a specific area about your financial awareness that you'd like to educate yourself more into? I don't know, crypto, investing, I don't know, Forex.
You've just named the three of them.
All three. Okay.
Yeah, all three. I'd say I have an idea of what each of those three are, but I understand that is sort of the way forward in terms of taking the money you've got and growing it. But I wouldn't say that I'm clued up nearly enough to feel like I could tomorrow if I was cut contacts with everyone else I know where to put my money in order to make sure that it went in a positive direction. I suppose I'm completely being in the surrounded by musicians. The common sorry any musicians who are like this, but the common sort of rule of a musician I can't even speak. The common rule of a musician is that they'll just push towards their final goal of performing or doing whatever, and it doesn't matter where they are or how much they earn or whatever. And no, I'm not like that. So I want to be in the area of investment and talking about that, but I don't have anyone around me apart from you, but you're not with me to talk about that.
It must be hard with people
and nobody around me that I know that I live with that cares about it. I mean, I live with one guy who's never had a job, who is like, oh well, yeah, I should probably get one of those things. I live with another guy who's only had one job, but is probably not in the right state to. I mean, he's not like he's not stupid, but I
No, no,
wouldn't
no.
say he's dedicated enough to get a
Not
job.
in the right
And then
mindset.
no, and then the other one, all he wants to do is play. Just he plays all day, and he's like, no, I don't have time for a job. But then all
Yeah.
three of them still come to me, and they're like, how can you afford all this stuff? I'm like, I have a job.
Oh,
Simple
have
as
a
that.
job and budgeting is easy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I suppose
So,
yes, the bigger areas of finance, I definitely want to educate myself on.
yeah. So on the back
Mm.
of talking about your flatmates, do you think financial awareness, literacy, whatever you want to call it, should be taught in education from a younger age?
I think that I think it should. Yes, I think that people should be taught what a mortgage is and how that works. People should be taught how interest works. People should be taught of
What are
the
taxes?
yeah, and just the ways that people try and scam you. I think, but not everyone sort of will. There are plenty of people that will go through their life and they'll, you know, take the money that they've earned and they will just spend it and they'll just that's what they'll live off and they'll never
Mm.
have something for a rainy day. And but I don't know if having I don't know if what we're doing is the right thing for everyone because some people would see that some people would collect a whole load of money and then I don't know someone would see that as oh that person's got 50 grand spare, I'm going to go target them and try and get close to them or whatever. So there's always that different mindset that people have, that they feel like they can't collect that amount of money so
Yeah.
quickly because suddenly they're much more vulnerable. So
So I think, honestly, I think the biggest factor to people not collecting money or, accumulating wealth is mindset. Because
mm,
if you tell yourself, I want to be earning this, then you'll do it by any means
mm,
necessary.
mm.
Um,
But yes, I think you're right in terms of people. Um, people should be taught. There should be some part of our
Definitely the
curriculum.
basics.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because so many people are like, oh, the most academic people are the most employable people, but the people that can have an idea of how, you know, um, purchases and I don't know what the word is.
The what? The
Comings and
economy?
goings. Yeah,
Okay.
no
Yeah.
comings and goings within a business, especially
Oh yeah.
from the beginning. Instead of learning that on the job, I
Mm.
think would be much more employable to someone who has been in the business industry for a while and sort of knows that is an absolute necessity, rather than someone
Yeah.
who's extra good at finding a volcano in the middle of Africa and explaining it to you. Not
Yeah.
hating on geography there, Matt.
Oh, we all know I hate geography at A level.
That-
Um, so if to round this off, if in one sentence,
Mm,
if anyone's listening that wants to improve their financial awareness or whatever, or become more educated about their finances, what would be one tip, trick you'd give to them in a sentence? Tough
mm,
question.
that is a tough question. I suppose it would be just see whenever I get a paycheck, I always see whatever I get as okay. So that's 70% of that I don't own. 70% of that is not for me. 70% of that is for me in 10 years. So
It's a good mindset.
just I'm trying to think of just like a succinct way of saying that. Just I suppose it's just save. Just
Save a proportion of your income,
yeah.
and your later self will thank you for it.
Yeah, yeah, and I suppose also another trick that I always used to use, especially when I was a young kid who wanted to play video games and wanted to get like all that cool new thing that my mates are playing with. I'm
Yeah.
like, you look at it and go, can I just play with my mate's one and he's bought it or his mum's bought it for him and then I get the same amount of joy out of it I haven't bought it, or two, do I actually really need that? You know, is my quality of life going to be upped so much so that it is worth buying that particular
Yeah.
item? And three, am I still going to want this in a week? Like, if you're unsure, leave it. If you
9 times out
don't
of 10,
know,
you won't want it after a week.
yeah, if it's in your basket and you're like, do I need this? The amount of times I've left stuff in my basket online and never ever gone back to them, and then I'll go back to the same site 3 months later and be like, oh yeah, I was going to buy that. Oh, I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah.
You
No,
know, always sleep on it if you're not sure.
good bit of advice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
You're welcome, mate.
Um,
Yeah, it's been
some,
good.
Yeah, some good tips.
Do you know what? Actually, thinking about it, you need to do one of these that's just you, because all you are at the moment is a voice and hosting. We found a lot about me, but we need to find out a bit about you.
Is that when you ask me the questions? Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah. Do you know what? Invite me back on next week, and I'll ask you the questions.
Okay, we'll do that in a few weeks. Right. Thank you everyone for thank you everyone for listening. Thank you, Ollie, for joining me. This podcast is gonna be a weekly thing. Gonna have a different guest every week. Ollie, it won't be you next week, but you'll be back at some point, I'm sure.
Damn it.
But thank you guys for joining us, and speak to you soon.